there's ways to avoid burning out. And it's usually not the fact that people are lazy. It's they're overcomplicating things or they're running into issues. So I think today, boys, we should talk about some of those things that maybe we've dealt with in the past.
Yeah, there's so many different reasons why people would quit growing. It's a variety of different reasons. And we're going to cover that today. Some things other people might not think of. I mean, us three have been doing it so long, 10, 15 years each. I think P maybe even has a few more years on top of that.
20 years over here, bro.
It's, oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Oof.
Look at the grays. If you're just listening, I have the most grays here, and it's because of all the times I wanted to quit in the garden. Okay?
Oh, man. Yeah. And for us, sometimes it's like kind of surprising when we hear about people quitting because we're just so into it and it's just part of our lives. It's ingrained in what we do every single day, is deal with plants, growing these plants in a variety of different ways that we do it. But yeah, people just quit for a variety of different reasons. And let's get into it today.
You know what? And we could have been victims of it too. But the reality is that, whether it was a good mentor or good sources of information, good books, we found a way to persevere. Everything from, expectation versus reality, a bad run. That's where I've been in particular, where it's like, you spend so much money and it's just like all of a sudden you just have something go wrong. And it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or the fact that even prices on the legal market are at a point where it's like competitive to now just not care. And man, yeah, I'm excited about this one because I think no matter what level of gardening you're at, you've been here before. And if you haven't even gardened yet, at least this is a good way to give you a level of expectation to look at as you go into this, that it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but with the right diligence, the right process, and the right mindset, you can get just about anything done. So let's do it.
100, man. I think a big reason a lot of people quit out of the gate, in my opinion, and I've been there in the past, is bad genetics, man. Starting with shitty genetics and wondering why my plant looks this way, why the smoke is so flat and 1980s white girl booty just flat, straight up door. What's going on with the way that it's taking so long and never flowering and it's supposed to be an auto flower? I'm doing something wrong. Well, a lot of times it's just bad seeds, bad genetics, some random shit that somebody just hopped and threw out there and put a name on there, put it in a little Coke baggie and said, good to go. And unfortunately, that's a lot more common than you think, especially when you Google to find a strain. When you see Green Crag, AK-47, Blue Dream, White Widow, Super Silver Haze, list them. Anything that's been very popular in the past, a lot of times somebody's just throwing some random shit out there. And that could get you in a situation where you're growing thinking that, oh, I've got this classic one that's supposed to be easy to grow, that's a heavy yielder, XYZ. None of those things happen and you think it's you. But it wasn't you, it was them in that situation, okay? It's like a bad chick or a bad dude you're with. You got to just sometimes move on and try something different. And you realize, well, the next one actually was better. This was God redirecting you to a better genetic. But people quit. My second run, man, I thought I lost my green thumb before I had it. And I was like, dude, I'm going to go back to the plug. I just lost so much money on this. My electricity bill, the nutrients, the soil, everything I spent, the genetics. I bought all these clones. It's like, fuck. It was bad genetics, man.
A lot of people start off with bag seed because that's all they really can afford is they'll start off with the seeds that they find within the buds. And not all bag seed is bad, right? So we don't really know the true route of how that bag seed came about. It could have been just another male in the tent, for example, or it was the plant was pollinated by a male, and that seed is perfectly fine, right? It's a regular seed. It could grow up and be a pretty good plant. Or it could come from a hermaphrodite plant, right? Which is oftentimes what happens. That's why you often hear something that you might have heard when you first started growing was don't use bag seed because it's most likely it'll most likely turn out to be a hermaphrodite. And what people mean by that is what could have happened is you grow a plant, female, but all of a sudden it shows intersex traits. It shows those pollen sacs at the nodes. Pollen gets released and starts pollinating its own plant, right? Seeds off of that, sure, you can smoke that flower. Some of the best genetics I've had, I don't want to say that, but some really good genetics as far as like taste and smell profile and effects have been from a hermaphrodite plant. So don't want to complete, and some award-winning genetics out there are truly hermaphrodite. So not trying to fully knock it, but oftentimes growers will get these bag seeds. They'll grow it up. It'll start to herm on them, and then they'll want to quit because, well, they're not having success with the genetics. So I figured I'd bring that one up and emphasize that a little bit when we're talking about bad genetics starting from that.
Dude, so true. So true. When you think about the people who have grown stuff and then they're told it's your problem, it's grower error, and they caused it. And it's like, damn, dude, I just grew it like I grew every other plant that I had in here. Why did this one get bananas all over it? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned it because I really can't add anything more than you guys have already stressed at this, but it's like a lot of great adventures and a lot of great journeys, rather, people's experiences began with a bag seed, right? I know so many people that are like, dude, I started growing because I got a seed in my bag and I just planted it. And it was like, boom, that's where it started. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that great genetics can come from that. But a lot of people, we have the pleasure of seeing a lot of gardens, and a lot of people present us problems with their gardens and they try to get us to diagnose them. And I'm the world's worst diagnostician when it comes to trying to figure out plant problems. But often I'll be like, well, what genetics do you have? And they're like, dude, it's just an unknown bag seed. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that at least is at least a ground where I can start from, where it's like, it's really hard to tell if anything is your problem, as you kind of mentioned. So no, that's really good. That's really good. I was going to mention burnout, boys. I feel like a lot of people stop growing because, and you can almost compare this to the legal industry in Canada in 2018. It's like people don't know that growing this plant can take time. It takes effort and energy, constant checks, your feeding schedules, the problems that could come about, having to know about the plant, knowing about base nutrients, knowing about your micros, your macros, your bacteria, your bennies. It's like it can be overwhelming, and people can burn out so easily. And I know that I almost speak from experience in almost all of these, because it's like, it's not as easy as it looks. And it does take some vigilance and some, I want to say, constant care to make sure that the plants don't go astray. And this can wear at you,
Yeah, dude. And when you look at the amount of time that goes into it, and when you're, young fly bachelor, things may be different, right, Chris? You remember back in the day when it was easy? You and your roommate had grows and everything's cool. Dude, yeah. The difference of having raising kids and raising plants together and doing the business and doing all this shit, my plant count has dramatically changed just because of the amount of time that it takes to deal with this, dude. And I think that people underestimate how much an SOP for your home grow can save you like crazy. I mean, especially if you're using a bottled regimen, you want to change things up. You can easily go with auto watering, making things simple for yourself. You can also simplify it even more by switching to something like Stash Nutrients or any of your other favorite organic nutrients that just makes it really easy to water only. You don't have to worry about mixing things. You don't have to worry about measuring things. You measure the initial and hand mix the initial, but it's one and done in most cases. And I think simplifying your process and making it easy for you to be able to repeat this routine without getting tired of it and without feeling that like tedious aspect makes it so you could just go down there and see this euphoric garden of Whedon that you could just vibe in and really just soak in that appreciation of the work that you've done. That's a lot less stressful and more structured.
Yeah, the burnout and time commitment issues is real for a lot of us, right? We all have busy lives. Most people growing are doing it as a hobby. They're not really getting paid unless you're in the gray market, black market, whatever. You're profiting off what you're growing there. But for the most part, most of us, we're just growing for ourselves. We're growing for maybe friends and family that we're gifting things to. And when you have a job, 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hour plus week job, plus you go home to a family where you've got one or two kids that you need to deal with, well, gardening can easily get on the back burner, right? And then it's like, let me just give up. Let me just forget about gardening. I'm done with it. Now I can focus on my job, family, so on and so forth. And like Rob had mentioned, like life changes. I had a kid a couple years ago. I have another kid on the way. And actually, by the time this one's posted, I might already have a kid, another one. But things have
Congratulations.
changed for me. And that's, again, I just want to emphasize what Rob said, the automation that you can bring into it to make things a lot more easier, right? If you're doing automatic watering, then you don't have to go in there and hand water as much. If you can simplify your training approach, well, then you don't have, or grow smaller plants, for example, and simplify your training approach. Well, then you don't have to spend as much time in the garden. So there are like shortcuts, and we have episodes on hacks and shortcuts that you can do in order to save time in the garden. So definitely reference that in the future. But burnout, time commitment issues, life changes, moving, people move, right, to different areas. They don't have the ability to grow anymore since laws vary from state to state. They might move to a area where it's not legal for them to grow anymore. So yeah, those things right there are a handful of things that just cause people to quit.
This FTS clip was brought to you by AC Infinity, leaders in garden innovation. Use discount code TheStash15 at checkout to save some money on your order.
From the Stash Podcast.